Good evening. This is Digital Asset Guy. Thank you for being with me. Let's get right into it. You all know I Trust Capital is my favorite place to buy, sell, and hold. Yes, hold cryptocurrencies and also gold and silver, which is killing it right now. You can hold it in an IRA or their premium custody account, which is just a regular account, but you get institutional grade custody for only 1% trading fees. That's huge. It's a really great place. You can call them during their business hours and talk to a real person if you need help. They're absolutely wonderful. I'm proud to be a partner and a user of iTrust Capital. Let's look at the market today. I got some comments from friends saying you go too fast on the coin market cap part and it's hard to keep up and things like that. I'll try to slow down and maybe not talk so fast on this page. I also got some comments saying I guess people didn't like my millennial rant last night on that video, talking about how difficult it is right now for like single young millennials, and everybody's so disconnected, and holidays are kind of different now, and it's even harder when you're a crypto enthusiast. But you know, it's all true. And some of my favorite crypto YouTubers, they go on rants all the time where they just pull up an article and they go on a rant with their opinion. So I don't know. So anyway, crypto today, we're having kind of a green day, but if you look at it on the 7-day, it's really about where it is or where it's been. Not much movement. Cardano, though, is down here 35 cents. You know, we got up about $1.20 off of, about 30 cents. It was almost a 4x. And then we did not get our alt season. We're all going to have to get over that and be patient and just take this as an opportunity. It's like we get a second chance at this. It's like getting a second. If I got a second chance at this bear market right here, this seemed like the worst thing in the world, but it was the best opportunity ever. We're like 3 cents. We go to $3, 100x, people. And then here, it's just another one. Who knows where this thing's going to go, but if I were a betting man, I'd say we're going to do this again. And as more money comes into the space, they go higher. As usual, nothing that I say or show is financial or investment advice, just my own thoughts and opinions and perspectives. So anyway, that's a little bit about the market. Here's my hero, digital asset investor. You know, sometimes people ask me, they'll say, digital asset guy, why do you sometimes sound like you have a slight southern accent? You're from the north your entire life. I did live in Florida for almost a year. But anyway, it's because I've listened to this guy and probably James Rule and maybe even a couple other southern crypto YouTubers for a decade.
Special for another day or two. So check it out. XRP's at 185. I just went in this morning early and I did my final buy. I backed up the truck and did my final XRP buy for the year. I've been buying for the last few months while things have been slow because, as I was explaining to my 19-year-old this weekend, I was going through this with him. And I said, son, you buy when there's blood in the streets. You buy when there's no hype. Everybody's scared. And that's what I've been doing. While everybody's been chasing gold and silver returns, that is the exact time that I do not buy gold and silver. I was buying gold and silver back 2 or 3 years ago, or more than that, maybe even. But not now. Now I'm buying what everybody fears.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm ready to start wading back in yet. I mean, I sold a lot pretty close to the top. I'm kind of in the camp that we are in a classic bear market unless something changes and we have the Clarity Act come out and rocket us up out of here and invalidate this crash that we've had, you know, in the last liquidation that we had up here started it. If we have something that invalidates that and we got back up around, 120 and it was clear an uptrend, I would change my tune. But blockchain backer is I've seen enough of his work. That guy is on it. So here's a silver expert, David Morgan. I just thought this was interesting how he was talking about the price of silver versus the value
ratio. What you would find was gold and silver were the only thing that kept you above the inflation rate. Stocks did not. So from that, we could say perhaps that we could see a blow off in the stock market going up and up and up. And people feel good because, the dollar is declining or gold and silver are moving quickly. And they're okay because the stock market keeps going higher. But relative to gold, that's what we want to look at. Where is it? And that, again, is what you really need to measure. That keeps you grounded. That keeps you in a basis of the real value versus what is the paper price.
And I think that's a really great point, because there's a difference between price and value. And the value comes from utility. And silver, if you look here, silver is used in electronics. It is used in iPhones, solar panels. It has antibacterial properties. The digital asset guy is a woodwind player. I play saxophone. I also play flute and clarinet. And I have a flute that is silver plated. And one time a flute professor, I was going to wipe off the front of this flute I was trying one time after somebody else tried it. I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, and she says, "Oh, you can't really catch anything. Flute has antibacterial properties," is what she was telling me, and I didn't really know that. But anyway, that's interesting. But my point here is silver, it has utility and it's used for things. iPhones are huge. And it kind of reminds me of XRP, how XRP is being commercially used by the company Ripple to move value across this planet, and so it's just a little interesting to me. And again, if we look at, I don't have it up now and I make these videos too long. But anyway, yesterday we looked at the price chart of silver and then the chart of XRP. It looks very similar. In the way that silver it was a boring asset for years. And then all of a sudden it takes off. That's kind of like XRP. It was really boring, especially with the lawsuit where we got our bull run cut short here in 21. But anyway, it's just kind of interesting to me, and then the color of XRP is black and white, but a lot of times it's shown as silver. Kind of interesting. Next thing, Moon Lambo is talking about the XRP, or he posted this, that Cryptos R Us posted about XRP ETF inflows. And as XRP is used more and more, people will probably start investing in it more and more, and they're going to do it through these ETFs. So they're talking about, why does the price not go up in this?
We ask that question all the time. No, it's a great question. So we do all of our buying OTC. The way it works is if we get, let's say, $100 million into our ETF, we go out to 7 major institutional market makers: Jane Street, Susquehanna, Goldman Sachs, Macquarie Bank, the big guys. And we say, give us your best price on $100 million XRP. And they'll all come back with prices. And then we'll call them up and say, Jane is 3 cents wide. Can you do 2 cents wide? And we'll drive the price down as low as we can. We'll put them in, and then we'll execute. Now, what happens behind the scene is that, let's say Jane wins the bid.
Okay, well, we get the idea, though, that these, this is a frequently asked question about various cryptos and their corresponding ETFs. Matt Hogan of Bitwise explains how his company purchases its cryptocurrencies, and you could read all about it. But the ETFs, they're definitely going to be huge, especially when the market makers are so involved. And we saw what happened with the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, but they took a little while. and XRP's ETFs have had stronger inflows than those. So I think that's coming. This is Abs. His name is Abs from Good Morning Crypto. Had the pleasure of meeting him at XRP Vegas, and then that's the one and only Crypto Jazz. I just love her. Such a nice person. Abs is a really awesome guy, and he messaged me on X after XRP Vegas, just saying it was great to meet you. And this is a really busy guy, you know. He didn't have to do that, but it just shows what a nice person he is. Like a lot of people in the XRP and the crypto community. Speaking of which, today I had something really cool. I don't have a lot of followers because I just started my new account, but the one and only Eleanor Terrett, the crypto journalist, more than 250,000 followers, always on the news. She followed me today. I got to meet her, of course. I talked about it. When I posted my little interview of her and me at XRP Vegas last year, it got 50,000 views, like 1,000 likes, you know, hundreds of comments, and it was she's just a really great person and just so down to earth, and you know, but and she loves cats. But anyway, she followed me today. I thought that was awesome. And then Kansas 108 is one of my favorite people. We talk on the phone sometimes, and she's just an all-around great person, member of the XRP community. Kansas, if you're listening, though, I want to see you at XRP Vegas in April. So anyway, trying to keep these videos shorter. So this kind of goes along with my little rant that I did yesterday about the millennial problems and things. But you know what? I'm going to maybe rant a little bit more. I mean, heck, Moon Lambo's one of my favorite crypto YouTubers. He goes on rants all the time, and he's gets loud about it and stuff, and he does just fine. So, you know, this is a picture from back in the 90s when these kids are playing N64 multiplayer. And I remember you could play up to 4 people, and I would do this pretty often, although my parents were not big fans of video games. But these are some of my greatest memories from like the 90s and the early 2000s. I remember we'd go to our friend's house. My friends were Jason and Nick. I still talk with them, but we'd go over to their house all the time. We would play for hours. Mario Kart, James Bond, GoldenEye, and it was just so much fun, but it was social. It was video games, but it was social, and it was about being together. Today, it's not like that. Everybody is alone playing where they get the whole TV all to themselves, and you're playing online with strangers usually, or maybe sometimes you'll play with your friends, but even if you are, you're not there together. And so I think that's why us millennials, especially the ones who are single in their 30s and having all these problems with dating and socializing and everything just being so disconnected with technology. If you think about it, we went from being one of the most social generations to all of a sudden being like a very lonely generation. And it really got accelerated. The nail in the coffin was C-19, the pandemic. That's when the party ended for millennials. I heard another YouTuber just say that recently, and I totally agree. I mean, that's where, I know that it affected everyone, but that really, really affected millennials who grew up like this. And that's when people just who, went to the gym all the time, we all had to stop going. And then those of us who went back to the gym, not everybody went back. Those of us who would go out and socialize, some of us came back and then others did not. And it was just a huge change. And it's just, I think things like this have even affected dating, relationships. I was at a, excuse me, still have my allergy. I was actually at a church, went to a church service on Sunday with a friend. And then I also went to like a men's group. And most of the men there were older, probably baby boomers. And then there were just like 3 millennials or even younger. And they're talking about challenges in life and things, and my son's having trouble, and just challenges. But I'm looking at these other, kind of young guys. The one was even younger than me, and it was a really great thing, but I could tell we just kind of had a tough time relating and communicating the way that these baby boomer guys were. And they're talking about all the problems, marriage, family, drama, things like that, divorce. And anyway, we get done and we're kind of hanging out, and I start talking to the younger guys, and somehow it comes up, and the one guy tells me, well, I'm going through a divorce right now, and it's awful and things. I said, I'm so sorry. I've almost been engaged possibly a couple times, and it just seems so crazy to me, and everybody's so disconnected, and dating is just it's hard to explain, but it's just not working right now. And he says, man, I don't see relationships as being the same as they were in the past. From here out, it's just that relationships in general are just fundamentally different today. And I said, yeah, I totally agree with you. And it's kind of hard for the baby boomers to connect. And he says, oh, they just can't, and it was just an interesting conversation that we had. And I just think that I think we need to be very mindful about what the future is going to be for kids and for adults and for all of us. And I think we need to start looking at the damage that's being done by the way we're starting to live our lives and be so disconnected. And I'm a fan of technology, okay? I call myself the digital asset guy. I'm all about crypto and blockchain and social media and YouTube and everything, but I don't think those are the way to go with all aspects of life. Anyway, that's my rant, but this meme that I saw today, it just really took me back, and I thought, what is it why were we so happy back then? And then I just looked at it and said, because we were together. Today we're just not. And then if you are together, sometimes you can be physically with someone, they're not mentally there. If they're on their phone or they're just mentally checked out, and it's a very subtle problem that we're having, but it's really becoming a big problem, and it's a bigger problem for some than others. So anyway, but just want to keep up with the market though, and try to help people understand, what's going on with these prices. Again, I just think that we are in a classic bear market. Like 2021, if you go onto this chart, go back to 2021 and look at it, we're kind of mirroring it. But we're lower than we were. So if you believe this technology is here to stay and that we'll have more bull runs and things, maybe now is the time to buy. But since the beginning of crypto, usually the answer has been look right, and then get ready to look left and wait 4 years. Maybe now it's the 5-year cycle. Who knows? Anyway, I think that's enough for today. Thank you very much for listening. Please put any comments below. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Please share this with anyone that you think it would benefit. And I'll see you in the next one. Digital Asset Guy out.